Yes, sir, we promised you a great main event here tonight. Andre, the Giant WrestleMania!
WrestleMania is running wild.
My God, what
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the PWP, a new era in Space City Sports Talk, where Space City Sports Talk is producing new shows, not only under the Space City Sports Talk umbrella, but under new names. So new names with the show, the PWP, Pro Wrestling Podcast. You may be asking yourself, Mar, wasn't the PWP already made by you for your college newspaper? Newsflash, ladies and gentlemen, I graduated. And to my understanding, the PWP said hosted and created by Marco Alvarado at that time. That's right. I own the PWP, which means the PWP is the exclusive property of Space City Sports Talk. So sit back, relax, and let's talk about some pro wrestling. Now let's get to this intro. With the new era being introduced to Space City Sports Talk, welcome to the very first episode of the PWP, the Pro Wrestling Podcast, produced by Space City Sports Talk. And those were the sounds from the All-State Arena in Chicago, Illinois last Saturday at Survivor Series War Games, when literally hell froze over and the unthinkable happened. CM Punk returned to WWE. With that being said, this is episode 1 of the PWP, the Pro Wrestling Podcast, produced by Space City Sports Talk. I'm the host, Marco Alvarado, alongside the co-host,
Corben Carter-Dixon here. What's up, people? And we are back. Your boys are back, the mics are back, and we're talking smack.
Baby, man.
And for this one, is about to be a slobber knocker.
Business is for sure about to be picked up, ladies and gentlemen. Corb, before we get into this, how do you feel about this expandment? Something new. PWP, baby. I mean, think about it. For the OG listeners, we threw in wrestling references a lot on the OG episodes of Space City Sports Talk. Hell, we had a couple intros with some theme songs.
It was super hilarious, and at the same time, it was very creative. At the same time, it just paid tribute to what we actually enjoy watching, and in which people may say wrestling's fake and stuff like that, but I'm not really into that. I'm really into like the storyline in which goes into the match, and in order for it to turn out to be a great match, that's what I care about the most. And for this, especially in pop culture times, wrestling is still relevant, and it's even at a greater height nowadays.
Oh, for sure. And the WWE plays a big part of that. You got people rocking WWE merch here and there, like out in public, celebrities, athletes.
It doesn't go away.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. Now, Corb, let's dive into this. CM Punk returning to WWE. Triple H called it a lightning in the bottle moment. The man walked in towards the end of the show to the Allstate Arena in his hometown of Chicago, Illinois. Well, Allstate Arena's in Rosemont, which is a suburb of Chicago, but it's not that far. I'm not going to get into that, but you get what I'm saying here. The place went bonkers. He got the pop that literally we have not heard a pop like that in
10 years. 10 years.
Now, we've heard big pops. And for the people that don't know what a pop is, that's like the reaction from the crowd. But we haven't heard a pop like that in a long time.
10 years. 10 years.
Now, what the WWE did with this, they did it right. In my opinion, they did it right.
It was really writing on the wall for me, because when I heard that Survivor Series War Games was going to be in Chicago, I was just like, are we really going to see CM Punk return this time?
Because he had the fallout with AEW.
Yes, and I believe he was, correct me if I'm wrong when I say this, didn't I hear the fact that I heard him and the Young Bucks were trying to come over here?
I don't know about the Bucks, because the Bucks are EVPs and they play a solidified role in AEW. Plus, they're really tight with Tony Khan, which is, basically the owner and the investor of AEW.
That's Cody Rhodes' original creation, but let's not even go there.
But Tony Khan put up a lot of bread in order for AEW to happen, though.
But who really had to do all the dirty work for real to actually make it happen?
That's true. It was Cody.
Let's be real.
It was Cody and the Bucks, because they were the foundation of AEW. Now, yes, back to like what you were saying. They sent out feelers to the people within WWE to say like, hey, like, can you check to see if there's any interest, if we can, possibly to go out there. But they're gonna stay in AEW. Think about it. There was a lot that happened between Punk and the Bucks
backstage.
2022 All Out. The media scrum, as they said, that big old fight that happened between the Elite, CM Punk, and Ace Steel, which is a producer of AEW.
Yes.
Which is no longer, obviously, because of that real life fight altercation that they had. But hey, you're in there to make money. That's what CM Punk was trying to do. He's trying to make money, not friends. And he made that known in his promo on Monday Night Raw the following night after Survivor Series War Games.
At the same time, I just hope that doesn't spread into reality of like, I felt like he wasn't trying to provide controversy when he said that. I understood what he said, it's just business, but at the same time, I'm just like, I just don't want no toes to be stepped on. And this time, to be honest, I really don't want CM Punk to actually leave this time.
Now, here's the thing. When I said they did his return correct, in the Survivor Series Men's War Games match, the main event of the show, Randy Orton was the last member for Team Cody Rhodes, but he never came out with the other teammates.
It was stalled, to make a bigger, pop for what it was.
And whenever it was his time to come out, who came out? Rhea Ripley with the Money in the Bank briefcase for Damian Priest, Judgment Day, potential cash in on Seth Rollins that was in the match, but
that got delayed once Randy music hit.
But the whole thing was, everybody thought Randy wasn't going to show up for some odd reason, and they thought CM Punk was going to be in there. Again, they're in his hometown of Chicago, CM Punk's, so anything's possible. But brother, I'll tell you one thing, whenever I heard Cult of Personality come on after the show,
my skin started to crawl, and I
stood up and I was like, oh my god.
I was like, did this really just happen? Like,
me and another SCST member, Rob, we were going crazy. We watched it together, and I was like, oh my god, like, dude, it's happening. And he was like, oh my god. We literally said the same thing. Literally, hell froze over whenever CM Punk came out at Survivor Series War Games. WWE PLE, Premium Live Event.
I got so excited. I had to rewind that like over and over.
Dude,
again.
I watched it about 50 times that night. And Rob was like, are you still watching? Like, he was getting on my case. But, dude, like, you have to understand, a lot happened back 10 years ago.
In 2013.
Yeah, a lot happened.
And I'll be honest here. If my friend Bernie could hear this, actually, when CM Punk was in his prime during that point in WWE, I swear I turned on John Cena. Period. Yeah. Like, I wanted to go with the voice of the voiceless, to be honest with you. And that always hits me to this day. Every time I hear CM Punk, it's like I always think of voice of the voiceless. And besides, the chant for CM Punk never died ever since he left.
I remember when SmackDown came after WrestleMania in 2016, whenever it was in Dallas. They came to Houston. SmackDown did. This was before the brand split. Jericho cut a promo that was off camera, and I remember he said, I am the best in the world at what I do. I started the CM Punk chant. I swear to God, I have video evidence of that. I promise you. And the whole arena started chanting CM Punk. And I was like, man, do I feel cool.
The honest truth to me is that I've been dying to see CM Punk back in WWE. It was just at what point and when it would happen. And nothing better than to be in Chicago, Illinois, of where he's from. And for when I heard that crowd react and I saw all the shocking faces in the crowd, I was just like, I felt like I was there with them because
it was just speculation that he was going to come. There was no,
it was so much speculation over the years of like when he's going to come back, or saying like, oh, he's going to come back. But then after that we get let down the next day and stuff like that. I just felt like something had to give in order for him and Vince and Triple H to come to an agreement finally.
Well, Vince isn't in the WWE no more.
Thank you for correcting me on that, which finally, he's not, running the company into the ground. But the right man in control to talk to was H himself.
And it's like what Triple H said, time heals all wounds. In a 10-year span, people grow from whatever situation that had happened previous.
But then once that growth happens, they all turn out to come back.
On good terms. Business is business.
So going forward, I'll be honest, I said this like the minute that CM Punk came back, I had texted you immediately. I said, prepare to see Seth Rollins against CM Punk at WrestleMania.
Which leads me to my next point. Do we see CM Punk at the Royal Rumble?
I'll go ahead and say it. I believe if we do see him at the Royal Rumble, I believe he wins the match.
Okay. And he will use that opportunity to go for Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship?
That's the main person I feel like, who, in my opinion, I'm like, who else on this roster is worthy enough to actually take on Seth in one-on-one at this point? And I feel like, don't get me wrong, I ain't gonna forget LA Knight. Yeah. But at the same time though, I feel like CM Punk is that right. It's just, I hate to be biased, but that's my personal favorite wrestler, and I feel like it's been years. And let's not forget, CM Punk is the original creator of the Shield.
That is true.
He is the original person that came up with the idea, and in which to back him up. Really like during that storyline, which, people kept wondering, are they helping CM Punk whatsoever? Knowing, that was his idea. And I feel like, there's nobody else, anyone better than him to take on Seth and take the title off of Seth.
Now, the difference between this run in WWE and his previous run in AEW, which was the most recent run.
Yes. And he was actually AEW champion in that company.
Right. When he debuted in Chicago on AEW Rampage, the Friday night show that was implemented for AEW. That was just speculation as well, because he wasn't advertised for that show, and he opened that show. There was like, yeah, he got a crazy pop and everything, cool. But there's just something about being at the major company, because let's not get it twisted here. WWE is the best wrestling promotion in the world, or company, or whatever you want to call it. And to be in a more structured environment versus AEW, more corporate, I guess you could say, you're gonna make more money, and that's what he's here to do. He's here to produce great matches at a good rate while getting paid and producing money for the company. And that's something CM Punk can do. At this point where we're at, they're limiting his appearances leading up to the Royal Rumble, which, hey, that's cool. But in this case, keep going.
And I believe he signed a 3-year contract, correct?
I believe so, with the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, right now they have the brand split, which I believe they're doing a good job with, but they need to keep people on their respective shows and not having them cross over, which we'll get into momentarily. But
I understand that crossover.
correct. He's not signed, quote unquote, according to storyline, he's not signed to Raw. He's not signed to SmackDown. Randy Orton just signed a contract, quote unquote, to go to SmackDown this past Friday on SmackDown.
And we already know that main reason why.
Correct. So my question to you is, what show would you want CM Punk on? I'm leaning towards Monday Night Raw, to be honest.
I'm on Raw as well, because I feel like with the situation at hand, in which I'm gonna go ahead and say this too. With the situation at hand on how, you know, the main event of WrestleMania turns out in 2024, I know that we're either leaning towards, I'm going to throw this change up in there. We will either see Roman Reigns go against Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania in a rematch.
Okay.
But there's also a twist in this as well. With Randy Orton trying to get revenge on the Bloodline, what if we see, and I said this a long time ago. I said there would probably be if Cody was not in the picture whatsoever, I said the best person to actually take the title off of Roman would be Randy. I'm just like putting it out there whatsoever, because I felt like, you know, there was no other person, you know, like as the roster kept getting depleted and stuff like that, I was like, who else is out there for Roman to, you know, to have a very great match with? But I feel like if Randy takes the title off of Roman, we're going to see a legacy versus legacy match.
Ooh, okay. I see what you're saying. I see what you're trying to do here.
Like that would be, I swear Roman versus Cody would definitely, you know, blow the roof off, but it would be a hell of a match just to see two former legacy members actually go head to head in honor of, you know, of the great Dusty Rhodes himself. And
mentor versus trainee.
Yes, you know. Oh man, that gives me goosebumps. That gave me goosebumps as well, man. So
that could be night one, or that could be a, you know, because WrestleMania is a two-night event now.
Show, yeah.
So that could be night one or night two main event, and then the other night could be Punk versus Rollins.
It's gonna be serious competition of the main event.
Now, mind you, there's no PLE, Premium Live Event, for the WWE in the month of December. The next time the PLE comes around, it's going to be for the Royal Rumble, and that's in January.
Yeah, it's always in January.
So I would keep your eyes locked and loaded.
I'm going to be really, like, as I'm working, you know, overnight, I'm definitely going to be tuning in on the show on Peacock, you know, when I get chances, because I'm really anticipating 2024 is going to be one of the best years, you know, in
that the WWE hasn't had in a long time.
Don't get me wrong, there's been some great years, but there's never been any hotter momentum than what CM Punk and Randy just brought. Most important, CM Punk. After 10 years. 10 long years.
And another thing, too, is this whole championship deal. The World Heavyweight Championship is back because Roman's going to be on a limited schedule. Roman's time is coming up as champ.
And we actually know the real reason behind that, of why he's been wrestling less and not been wrestling more. And based on, I'll be honest, him and the cancer and
leukemia,
stuff, the leukemia stuff it drained. Let's be honest, it drained him. We're not saying that it's back. We're not saying that the cancer is back whatsoever. We're just saying the after effect of how many matches and what his schedule has been like has actually, drained him out of that. Which I can give Roman respect, really. I don't care what anybody says. The Tribal Chief has actually paid his dues. And which, I feel like it's now time to give back to the WWE universe.
Yeah, and give back they will. Corb, I'm excited for WWE at this time around. Mania's around the corner. Got the Rumble, 2 of the big 4 pay-per-views within that company, which is one of the biggest pay-per-views that the company has to offer, that's been offering for years. If you don't know, the big 4 pay-per-views, Mania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and the Royal Rumble. And the Royal Rumble's coming up. That will be taking place in St. Petersburg, Florida, home of the Tampa Bay Rays, where the Thunderdome used to be back in the pandemic days. Mm-hmm. But this time in front of a live audience.
To be honest, I wish I was there in Florida.
Yeah, because this Rumble match is, I think it's better than last year's.
Now that CM Punk is basically in the fold. So,
well, now hang on. I forgot to mention, you still got Mr. Money in the Bank lurking. Did we see a successful cash in?
You want me to be honest with you on that part?
Yeah.
I'm also going to throw another change up on you on this one. I would definitely love for Damian Priest to stir the pot on the championship scenario, but Sami Zayn is also in the background. And to be honest, if a storyline really did have to develop, I would definitely love to see Sami Zayn challenge Damian Priest for the Money in the Bank, for the rightful chance to actually be champion. And I would definitely see Sammy succeed at that and also cash in and win the title for the first time.
And it could happen. It could happen.
I don't know. It's just something about that situation that drives me crazy all the time.
The Money in the Bank PLE, that was back in what? June? July?
Mm-hmm.
Because they did it over in the UK.
Yeah, heading over into the summer, yes.
Okay, so they got a year span to cash in.
So he don't even have to cash at Mania to basically, he can just wait until June.
Or whenever the event happened.
Yeah.
Huh. This is interesting.
I just want to see what happens with
the June draw. Let me go ahead and fact check that, but go ahead.
I just want to see what happens based on that, in which not only does it stir up the pot around the company, but how does that stir up with the Judgment Day? That's all I want to see. That's really it.
I'm lost because I don't know when would be the right time in order to do this. Do you try to cash in on Monday Night Raw? Do you try to cash in at the Rumble? Or do you cash in the Monday after Mania? And the Monday after Mania is one of the most sought out Raws in WWE.
Yes. And this is the other thing about it. If we had to really see Damian Priest actually, quote unquote, have a successful cash in, Finn Balor's coming for the title. I'm not gonna deny that, not one single bit.
Okay, going back to the whole Money in the Bank deal, the event took place July 1st, 2023. So he has until July. We were right. I don't know.
Once again, this is going to be very interesting.
Very, very interesting. Anything else you want to say on the PWP, the first installment of this grand episode?
Get your popcorn ready, to be honest with you.
And don't worry, this isn't just a solidified WWE pod. We're going to be talking about AEW here in a future episode. We'll just keep them separate. Wouldn't be bad.
And most importantly, we just have to keep up wrestling content, guys, because it's like this is a new thing in which we're trying to expand on the Space City Sports Talk podcast, in which we actually pay tribute to every sports and entertainment type of venue in which we've been growing up watching this whole time. And wrestling has been one of those things in which I had my hiatus of not watching for a bit, but let's not say that I didn't keep up with the show.
Same here. I mean, basketball takes up majority of my schedule, but
baseball, football, everything,
But I still tune in Mondays and Fridays when I can.
And especially, I always turn on my notifications in case I miss something on like what's really going on, so that way I can actually have a conversation with people in which I can get their perspective and I give my feedback on what's really happening.
The WWE will have a house show here at Toyota Center in December. Hey, you might see me out there, you might see me not, but if you see somebody with the replica spinner belt from 2006, and you know what? Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Yeah, I did get a replica championship.
Oh, God,
I got it for graduation.
I know.
I got my bachelor.
I know.
I didn't want a class ring.
I thought it was hilarious.
I'm not gonna wear a ring.
I really thought it was hilarious.
Well, the only ring I'll wear is my wedding ring, but that's God knows whenever that's gonna be. But think about it: championship belt, class ring. I'm gonna go with grand championship belt that I grew up with.
Oh, God.
That I'd proudly display, and I will break out at WWE events. I'm going to take it to an AEW event.
I just personally thought that was hilarious.
How's that funny?
No, really, it was fun. It was really funny to me.
How?
It was funny in a good way because I was like, this man did not spend $1,000 a sort toward a ring. This man spent
less than that
to go with the ultimate thing of representation for his ring ceremony of receiving his bachelor's, which was a replica WWE Championship belt.
The one that spins that Cena debuted in 2005.
Yes, 2005 indeed. And I was just like, I said, this man just shook the world.
I don't care. I wish I had it at graduation, but I didn't even know it came like early. Because my dad was like, I was going to bring your belt. And I was like, what? It's here? They're like, yeah, it's here. I was like, what the heck? Like afterwards, like back at the house. And I was like, oh my God, I would have worn it to the stage around my waist. Think I'm lying.
If you send me a video of that,
What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do?
Oh, they can't do nothing about it whatsoever. But it would be super hilarious if you did send me a video of that, and I would just be like,
that would have made my day more enjoyable.
oh God,
I was in a bad mood that day.
I believe it.
Because I don't want to sit down and drag. Oh, it was such a drag. But if I would have had the WWE Championship with me, I would have. I'm not gonna lie. I would have been like entertained. I would have been happy. I would have been like, haha, I'm the winner. Look at my prize. Y'all the loser who sits and cries.
And I would have been like Marco being. I would have been like Marco being Marco.
Only for a time. Look, a lot has changed. I've grown, but that's just a little bit of fun I would have had, just to spice things up a little bit. I like to be different here and there. Or I like to be different in general, because I haven't heard nobody else get a WWE Championship for graduation. I mean, I'm pretty sure it happened, but people that I know personally, especially the one that you grew up with.
Then speaking of different, once again, relating back to the message, we're actually trying to expand, guys, in which we actually pay tribute to every sports venue and entertainment that we always grew up watching. Once again, wrestling will be one of those things. The PWP will grow as we grow SCST back from the dead.
SCST is back, baby. And you best believe we're coming better than ever. That's right. This is just another one of the categories that we have to offer here. Again, your categories are Astros, Rockets, Texans, soccer, which is going to come very soon, Beyond the Scope, which is hunting, which is something I never thought we'd do, but hey, that's been a banger. And now the PWP. Man, feel official.
And like an old legend would say, you never been on hard times. You never been on hard times.
We're just back better than ever. We are back better than ever. This has been episode 1 of the PWP. I'm Marco Alvarado.
I'm Corben Carter-Dixon.
And we'll see y'all on the next episode.
We out.
Goodbye. Mwah. And good night. Bang. Yes, I know that's an AEW reference. Goodbye, everybody.